Hey everybody, Kenny Jr. here, and welcome back to Stick to Games. Today's episode, we're going to revisit the Sonic series yet again, but today's lesson is going to focus more on songwriting. Our game today is Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and by now it should be no secret that Michael Jackson and his keyboardist Brad Buxer are confirmed as having contributed to this soundtrack. While today's track wasn't composed by Jackson himself, it definitely feels inspired by his music. Hydrocity Zone Act 2 teaches us a little bit about pop song form. The basic definition of form is the way musical ideas are identified and organized. The form of this particular song closely resembles something that Michael Jackson would use in most of his numbers. There is a clear introduction, verse, pre-chorus, and chorus that can be easily identified. The only thing missing would be a bridge. So today, we're going to focus on pop music forms and identify key elements for making it work. So we start off with the introduction, of course. So the introduction should get the listener's attention. It's not too busy, not too long, but it's interesting enough to let the listeners know that they should stick around. We have 16 notes across the toms, followed by a cool little hi-hat snare interaction. Make sure you keep those open closes tight for the musical effect. Next up is the verse. After your intro, pop songs will usually go straight into a verse. Other musical styles such as blues and rock will usually use the introduction to lay down the primary backbeat and groove, but it's a regular trend in pop music to start the groove on the first verse. The pattern is a 16-beat groove with a syncopated open-close hi-hat and kick. The snares on 2 and 4. And so at the end of your primary backbeat, you have a quick little tom fill that brings us into our next section. After a verse, most pop selections go into a chorus, which is your hook. That is the catchiest part of the song. Sometimes artists use a pre-chorus to arrive at that point. It'll help add emphasis to the chorus later. Michael Jackson used these often. Billie Jean and Smooth Criminal are great examples. As a drummer, the pre-chorus can be played either passively or we can open up here. This selection chooses to open up. We have cantaloupes on the hi-hat, finishing with a sizzle and kick now for emphasis on the new bass part. Your snare remains on 2 and 4, and then we're going to put a cool little fill at the end of it to turn it around.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppan Gangnam Style.
We've now arrived at the hook. The drummer returns to the primary backbeat with a few cues sprinkled in. And after all that, we make a return to the top to do it all over again. Since this track loops, we omit the bridge, which would typically lead back to a widened chorus, and then chorus to an intro. What we have here, however, serves well to give us the foundation for pop writing. And alright everybody, that just about covers everything we had to talk about today. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you really liked this approach on form, this focus on more arranging rather than technique there. I hope you guys continue to check back in with the channel. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to check out my website where you can find full transcriptions for all of these songs that we cover. And I'll keep coming up with new things for us to explore together. So, till next time.